Dave was a young man from the city, full of confidence and very handsome. After finishing university, he was sent to a remote village to complete his 1 year service as part of the National Youth Service Corps. His job was to teach in the village school, a task he wasn't interested about. But when he arrived in the village, the students, especially the girls, admired him. He was new, handsome, educated, and from the city. He's everything they wanted. Dave quickly settled into his new role as a teacher, but soon he started taking advantage of the girls in his class. They often visit him in the house, one after another. Each time any of them visited, Dave would flirt with her, eventually using the opportunity to sleep with her. He did this to many girls, but he was always careful to deceive them. He would tell each girl that she was special and that he didn't care about the others. The girls are still young and naive. They would believe him and kept his secret. Unfortunately, some of them became pregnant, but Dave convinced them to abort the pregnancies, promising that they would have a future together. This pattern continued until one day everything changed. Among all the girls, there was one who stood out, Dimma. She was a quiet, hardworking student who fell deeply in love with Dave. Unlike the others, she would fetch water from the village stream for him, wash his clothes, bring food, and clean his room. She genuinely believed Dave loved her back. She felt lucky and would do anything for him. When Dimma found out she was pregnant, she went to Dave, thinking he would be happy. But Dave was not pleased. He told her to get rid of the baby, just like he had done with the other girls. However, Dimma refused. She couldn't believe that the man who had told her he loved her now wanted her to kill their baby. I am not ready for this, Dave replied. We are both too young, and my service will soon be over. I can't take care of a child right now. Dimma felt heartbroken, but she stood her ground. She wasn't going to abort the baby, no matter what Dave said. As Dave's service period came to an end, he didn't inform any of the students, especially Dimma. On the morning of his passing out parade, Dave packed his bags quietly and left the village without saying goodbye. When the students found out he was gone, many were upset, but none more than Dimma. She had hoped that even if he didn't want the baby, he would still be there for her. Now she was all alone, pregnant and without support. When her parents discovered she was pregnant, they were furious. In shame and anger, they sent her away from home with nowhere else to go. Dimma left for a nearby city. In the city, she struggled to survive, selling bottled water on the street just to eat. Life was hard, but she kept going for the sake of her unborn child. When Dave returned to the city, thinking he had escaped all his problems, he started applying for jobs in different companies, but nothing seemed to work out. His confidence began to fade as he moved from one rejection to another. Dave was living back at his mother's house, frustrated and jobless. One day, while Dimma was going through her bag, she found a piece of paper with Dave's number written on it. She had written it down a long time ago when she thought they would be together forever. Dimma decided to call Dave. She dialed his number. The phone rang, and when Dave picked up, she introduced herself. It's me, Dimma. I am the one from the village that is pregnant with your child. There was a long silence before Dave finally responded. I don't know who you are. You must have a wrong number. Dimma shrugged. How can you say that? It's me, Dimma. You know who I am. But Dave hung up the phone. Dimma couldn't believe it. After everything they had been through, He was now pretending that she didn't exist. One day, while eating lunch with his mother, his phone rang. It was Dimma again. Dave didn't answer. His mother noticed and asked, "Why aren't you answering your phone?" "It's no one important," Dave lied. "Just a wrong number." The phone kept ringing every few days, but Dave always ignored it. One day, his mother picked up the phone before he could stop her. "Hello," she answered. On the other end, Dimma explained everything. She told Dave's mother about how she had fallen in love with him, gotten pregnant, and been abandoned. Dave's mother was shocked. After listening to Dimma, she turned to her son with anger in her eyes. "Is this true? Did you get this girl pregnant and leave her?" Dave tried to deny it, saying, "No, Mom, she's just a village girl trying to cause trouble." But his mother didn't believe him. She looked at him with disappointment. "You can't run from this. Dave, this girl is carrying your child, and you need to take responsibility." "I am calling her back. She's coming to stay with us." Few days later, Dimma arrived at Dave's house. She was nervous but also relieved that someone was finally helping her. Dave's mother welcomed her warmly and showed her to a room. Dimma grateful to have a room over her head, but Dave was less happy to see her. He avoided her as much as possible, and when he did speak to her, it was only to complain. "She doesn't belong here, Mom," Dave said angrily. "She's not my type. She's just a village girl." But his mother stood firm. "It doesn't matter where she's from. She's carrying your child, and you will take care of her." Despite living in the same house, Dave treated Dimma poorly. He refused to help her, barely spoke to her, and complained about her presence to anyone who would listen. But Dimma, ever patient, endured it all. She knew that for the sake of her child, she needed to stay strong. One day, Dave returned home after another failed job interview. He saw Dimma washing his clothes. He became more angry and started shouting and insulting her, even to the point of pouring her water. Dimma became silent and did not say a word. The next morning, as he walked past Dimma's room, he noticed her folding baby clothes, preparing for the birth of their child. For the first time, he felt guilt. He had been treating her so badly, yet she continued to quietly prepare for the future. The next day, on his way home, Dave stopped at a small shop and bought a simple hair clip. It wasn't much, but it was the first kind gesture he had shown Dimma since she had come to live with them. When he handed her the gift, Dimma looked up in surprise. "Thank you," she said softly. "God will bless you for this." That night, as Dave lay in bed, he thought about Dimma's word. He began to wonder if maybe he had been wrong to treat her so badly. The next morning, Dave's number rang. It was a call from a company he had applied some months ago. They were offering him a job. Dave couldn't believe it. After so many months of rejection, things were finally looking up. He rushed to tell his mother and Dimma the good news. His mother smiled knowingly, and Dimma gently congratulated him. Dave couldn't help but think back to what Dimma had said when he gave her the hair clip. Was it possible that her presence had brought him good fortune? As days passed, Dave began to treat Dimma with more kindness. He talked to her more often, helped her with small tasks, and even started to feel guilty for how he had treated her before. With time, Dave's career began to flourish. He received a promotion and was in a much better position. But more importantly, his feelings for Dimma began to change. He started to see her not as a burden, but as a strong and kind woman who had endured so much for the sake of their child. One evening, Dave sat down with Dimma and apologized. "I am sorry for everything," he said. "I didn't treat you well, and I regret it." Dimma smiled, her eyes soft. "It's okay," she said. "We have both been through a lot, but we are still here. That's what matters." They began to spend more time together, and slowly Dave realized that he had fallen in love with Dimma. Finally, Dimma gave birth to a very beautiful baby girl, and Dave felt an overwhelming sense of pride.